Do you recollect that 90s Pearl, the Steve Harvey show, music in the event that you do? You totally should review Terri Vaughn, the capable entertainer who brought the remarkable person of La Vida Elise Jenkins to life. Music, excuse me, you can't simply go jumping up in there. This is the Central's office in a new meeting with parody publicity entertainer Terri Vaughn spilled some quite hot tea about Steve Harvey, recommending that his presumptuous disposition has been a consistent all through his vocation. Vaughn thought back about her experience on the Steve Harvey show, sharing that the discussions on set were many times interspersed by Steve's steady presumptuousness. She uncovered they've forever been presumptuous. Every one of the discussions him, Wendy expressed, used to have on set Steve Harvey's profession has seen ups and downs with snapshots of tremendous achievement and pertinence. However, Vaughn noticed that his new undertakings probably won't be resounding with crowds similarly. They once did, I believe. He's as yet that equivalent savvy Steve. He's as yet presently you're likewise seeing one more side of him that he never needed to show me. Regardless, the moderator, Steve, has for quite some time been supposed to have a dash of unpleasantness. In a 2022 episode of the Smartless digital recording, Kenan Thompson wound up sharing a fascinating story about his connections with Steve Harvey, alluding to one more occurrence where Steve might not have been the most amicable person during the webcast discussion with have Jason Bateman seen Hayes. And Will Arnett. The point went to Kenan's pantomime of Steve on the satire scene, when Arnett referenced that Steve was one of his number one characters depicted by Kenan, the Nickelodeon graduate, didn't keep down about the underlying reaction from the appointed authority. Steve Harvey star Kenan unveiled Steve Harvey didn't cherish it initially. I know him, so he would send messages through common companions or directly through the press, like advise the little fat kid to knock it off in spite of Steve's not exactly energetic gathering of the pantomime. Kenan didn't withdraw as a matter of fact. He chose to develop it, adjusting it to suit anything that Steve Harvey depended on next. For example, when he wandered into projects like Minimal Big Cheeses. I never halted, he went on. When he accomplishes something at whatever point, he moves back from family quarrel and accomplishes something different. I'm on that. As well, assuming you're on the radar, you're on the radar. Strangely, Kenan had recently examined Steve's response to his pantomime in a meeting with the Hollywood journalist. Steve wasn't excessively amped up for it at the outset, yet he developed to cherish it. I don't do it because of any noxiousness, he told the Power Source. In July 2020, he let me know in various ways, or he'd express it on his public broadcast, and afterward individuals would call me and resemble, hello, Steve Harvey's discussing you earlier today on the radio, and I'd resemble, oh, well, I'm certain he'll settle down once he understands that I'm not going after him as fans might realize. Kenan previously encountered Steve when he showed up on Steve's sitcom, The Steve Harvey Show, where he played a person named Junior from 1996 to 1998. In 2017, Kenan was a visitor on Steve's self-named syndicated program, and they worked it out with cordial exchange. You don't have a clue about the calls you put in my life. Steve told Kenan, man, stay Eve, did you see Kenan the previous evening? I didn't see Kenan the previous evening, kid. He did Yura the previous evening. Throughout the long term, the pair has shared different goodies about their collaborations. I just saw Steve when we were shooting Bring the Interesting, and he was on the following stage doing Family Quarrel. Kenan said I plumped down with him, and he resembled you. Better watch yourself. I love Steve. I've known him from now onward indefinitely, seemingly forever. The inclination sounds common. We, as a whole, realize Kenan's vocation is fit as a fiddle as a result of me, Steve said on additional. I need to kick his eye, yet it's interesting I call Kenan constantly and say hello, man, send me a portion of your checks. Since I'm a portion of the explanation, you're here anyway. On the off chance that you feel that is the degree of Steve's upsetting conduct, you are in for a discourteous shock. Apparently, a new reminder he shipped off his staff has at last exposed this part of his personality. And accept us when we say that obliviousness could have been ecstasy in his update. Steve disposed of any veneer of consideration and defined an unmistakable boundary of division among himself and his partners. As though he considered them underneath him, the update read as follows: my security group will prevent everybody from remaining in my entryway or who have the aim to see or address me. I believe that all the ambushing should stop now. That incorporates television staff. You should plan an arrangement, I guarantee you. I won't engage you in the lobby, and don't endeavor to stroll with me, as opposed to offering a conciliatory sentiment. Steve has decided to twofold down in light of the analysis over the update. He appears to accept that individuals looking to speak with him are taking advantage of his position, discuss haughtiness. I was unable to figure out how to stroll from the stage to my changing area, to sit in my cosmetic seat, to stroll from my changing area to the stage, or to simply sit and eat without someone strolling in. I've generally had a strategy where you realize you can come and converse with me. Such countless individuals are perfect around here, yet some of them recently began making the most of it. Steve felt detained by the presence of fans and individuals, hanging tight for him, provoking him to compose the letter. I would have rather not been in this jail any longer, where I must be in this little room frightened to go out and deeply inhale natural air, without someone moving toward me, so I composed the letter eventually. He unyieldingly would not recognize his bad behavior or expand an expression of remorse. Following quite a while of apparently being unapproachable, Steve appears to accept that he can say or do anything without confronting results. It's obvious that Steve doesn't respect many individuals, as he has now disallowed anybody from moving toward him at work. Plainly, he stays unaware of his unpleasant and egotistical disposition, showing no purpose to restore his picture. Some might contend that he is legitimate in needing to keep away from discussions at work. Yet what ought not be neglected is his long history of raunchy way of behaving. This new episode isn't whenever he first has acted improperly and anticipated that others should acknowledge it deplorably. It appears to be that Steve Harvey has reliably shown disdainful and narrow-minded propensities. He doesn't avoid offering bigot and homophobic comments in open. Purportedly, Steve Harvey has shown an absence of regard for gay men, recommending that they are not genuine men in his eyes. His bias stretches out to Asians too, in spite of his own staff status as an ethnic minority. He even went to the extent that taunting a book named How to Date a White Lady, a reasonable aid for Asian men, with a racially unfeeling remark. Asian men justifiably resented his once commendable joke and got down on his bad faith. Eddie Huang gave a fitting person examination of Steve, featuring his eagerness to propagate the castration of Asian people for individual increase in spite of his foundation to resolve issues in the African American population, and his strict affiliations. Adding to the rundown of Steve Harvey's risky traits is his conviction that all men want just something single. According to ladies' a viewpoint, he is straightforwardly communicated. He has even confessed to lacking female companions, declaring that men who become friends with ladies are only sitting tight for the chance for closeness. Moreover, he has a history of annoying and deriding his visitors. Ernie Hudson, for example, had a not exactly wonderful experience with Steve, who ridiculed Ernie's child. Because of his mild-mannered voice, Ernie reviewed We Lived It Up, despite the fact that Steve Harvey was irritating my most youthful child, is exceptionally calm. And Steve was somewhat ridiculing his voice. I'm staying there, don't show that you're getting irritated. I will take him out. It's become crystal clear that Steve Harvey isn't available to analysis or responsibility. He appears to have an unfortunate comprehension of the idea of assent. When requested exhortation on the best way to dismiss progresses, Steve answered pompously, proposing that once a man is intrigued, there's no halting him, notwithstanding his disputable perspectives and dependence on orientation generalizations. For his parody, Steve introduces himself as a relationship master offering counsel to other people anyway. It's significant that his own heartfelt history is a long way from model, set apart by treachery, and an evident absence of regret as a matter-of-fact tales that Marjorie had been associated with an illicit relationship with Steve's security ejected on Twitter half a month prior. Virtual entertainment clients flowed unconfirmed reports that Marjorie was trying to end her 16-year union with Steve after she was discovered being untrustworthy to the family fight, have explicitly the bits of gossip claim that Marjorie was looking for a $200 million separation settlement in the wake of going behind Steve's back with the couple's protector and cook. Anyway, Steve has likewise confronted a few duping charges in the past for setting Steve Harvey, wedded his most memorable spouse Marcia Harvey in 1980. The two were hitched as the family fight host parody profession started to